Going into a creative block is crazy because what do you mean that suddenly I can't think of ideas, I can't generate new ideas, I can't think of possibilities, I can't find new ways and loops around things, and I can't just be creative. It's wild because it doesn't make any sense. This is something that comes naturally to me. So why on earth can I not do this thing again? It happens a lot more times than I like to admit because I'm a creative and sometimes when I get burnt out, I can't find a way to create again. And it's more of a burden if you think about it that way. However, years in the game, years in the industry have taught me different ways I can combat being a creative block. The only issue is figuring out whether or not I'm in a creative block in the first place. But yeah, I'm here to share different ways I combat creative blocks whenever I find myself in there. The first way I combat creative block is to put myself outside of my creative comfort zone. For example, I'm a writer. So the easiest way for me to combat creative block is by, let's say, drawing. I used to draw when I was in secondary school. But over time, because I stopped drawing and I lacked practice, I couldn't draw again. So anytime I find myself in a creative block where my writing is just not clicking, it's not just flowing to me, I just take out my pen and my paper or a pencil and I start to try to draw. Now, doodling comes naturally to me, or just making plain sketches or doodles. But actually drawing, that is where my weakness is at. But instead of me to dwell on writing and delay myself with it, I decide to draw because the stress and the difficulty of trying to navigate a new creative terrain is going to make it easier for me to think of something related to my own creative endeavor. And that can actually lead to my brain trying to figure out what I was struggling to figure out in the background while trying to draw something in the present. And before I know it, everything clicks and then I can get back to writing. It just helps to loosen my brain because most of the time I'm just tired from writing. I'm over familiar with writing, and over familiarity kind of breeds contempt, not just with you and people that you know, but with you and whatever you're involved in on a daily basis. Drawing is one way I always combat creative block. If you're not a writer, it's not limited to just being a writer. If you're a painter, you can try to draw, right? Or you can try to write. Or if you're into drawing, yes, if you're an artist, you can try making pottery. Yeah. If you're a writer, another thing you can try to do is to try to knit. It is not limited in any way to what you do. Just try to look for the polar opposite of your creative endeavor and try to do it. That is exactly how I combat my creative block and it can help you as well. Another way I try to come out of creative block is to go back to the basics of it all. I started writing with pen and paper when I was 8 years old. Obviously, I didn't know how to use a phone to write. I didn't know how to write with a laptop or with a desktop or with a keyboard. So whenever I find myself struggling to type, I bring out my book and my biro and I write because my brain probably just needs a reset. And that reset is going back to the basics. And most of the time, my brain moves faster than my hands. And my handwriting, thankfully, is it's wonderful, it's sketchy, it's runny, it's a little bit unsettled, which is just exactly how my brain needed to be. So instead of me trying to force my hands and my brain to slow down with using a keyboard, I can just try to match the pace of my brain and try to use it to write. This is a challenge for my brain because it's an unfamiliar familiarity. I mean, when last did I use a pen and a paper to write extensively, aside from the usual penning down of random thoughts or random ideas that pop into my brain? Writing with pen on paper helps my brain to open up in ways that I needed to, which is essential for getting back my creativity. The third way I get out of a creative block is to always create. You just have to keep on creating. There's one quote that I always run with. It says, right, editing. It says editing a messy page is better than not having anything to edit. Something around that line. And I find it very important because even though my creative block is holding me back from writing coherent sentences or making anything make sense on paper or on a script, it's important for me to still push it out because when eventually my brain gets back into its mojo and I try to think of it, to think of what I want to write, I have material to work with and material to improve. Instead of me to start from the scratch I have something to work with. So yes, always create, no matter what. It's a way to slow you down. Creative work is a way to slow you down, but it's also a way for you to ensure that you keep going with what you are doing. Don't let it slow you down. Don't let it stop you, no matter what. Just keep pushing. And lastly, the surest way I get out of a creative block, the one foolproof way I get out of a creative block that I will always recommend to anybody at any point in time, at any stage in their career, is to go offline. You're a creative. You are not meant to be online all the time. Literally go offline. Spend an hour or more every day just doing something without your phone, without your laptop, without your game consoles, without anything that has to do with the internet and technology. Just do something offline. Please take a walk, read, walk in a park, just sit in silence, embrace boredom once again. Being bored is a very weird thing that I love to engage myself in, but it's also very crucial and important to my career. It's very important for my creativity because being bored means that I'm not thinking of anything in the moment, but anything can pop into my brain. I'm not doing anything worth putting too much attention into, which means anything can pop into my brain and I can get wild ideas, which I need to get my creativity back on track. So please, once again, try to go offline. Your brain is probably just overstimulated from the constant information that you're getting it fed. Like, I'm a writer. At a point, if I read too much threads, too much articles, if I check out too much videos, it starts to get exhausting. I start to feel fatigued. So it's very important for me to just put off my phone and just sit and stare at the wall, stare at the ceiling, read, read. Do some coloring, draw, write. Just do something weird and get engaged in mundane activities. Clean up your room is probably dirty because you've been ignoring your responsibilities and your hygiene in the name of getting work done. You probably have a pile of dirty laundry and you know it. So once again, do something offline. Your brain needs it. It needs a break every once in a while. Try to give it a break every day. If it's so expensive for you to just 1 hour, if 1 hour is too much, 30 minutes max. Just do nothing on your phone, do nothing on your laptop, do nothing with technology. Just exist and be present in the moment. And that's how I survive a creative block. It's exhausting to say the least. Being in a creative block holds you back, it delays you, it stresses you. But it also serves as a way to expand your brain and a way to learn something new and a way to get new ideas. It just depends on how you channel it. No matter what you do, don't give up on your career because of one measly creative block. Just use it as a tool to get to the next stage of your creativity. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.